Hey, all. Dr. Jerry here, coming to you with part 4 of our 12-part series of our summer book club. So, finishing our chiropractic portion here with a simple question, which is one that I hear very frequently. What causes this, or what caused that? How did I get this spine problem? How are my hips off? How come it keeps coming back? How come fill in the blank? You hear people say this all the time. And similar to the video previously that you may have watched, talking about, just really looking at what are the stresses, traumas, injuries of life, whether it's looking down at your cell phone, working 40 hours a week, playing soccer, basketball, baseball, whether it's in high school or whether you're still playing it. But there's in chiropractic, for the word subluxation, which means the spinal misalignment or the spots that are causing the neurologic impairment, which can be affecting both how you feel and how you function. They've whittled it down into something called the 3 T's. So thoughts, traumas, and toxins. And we're going to start with traumas because these are the ones that I would say are most understood. So if you got in a car accident and you got whiplash, you wouldn't be surprised if you had neck issues following that. There's a physical component. If you sit for 50, 60, 70 hours a week, you may know that that's actually 4 times more likely to develop a disc issue in your low back because your postural muscles just frankly aren't built to sit. You're built to move. Um, but outside of that, slips and falls off your bike, just different things that occur, a slip on the ice that you could have even walked away from, but then you go to your 40-hour a week job and sit. Well, now if it's out of line, it progressively will get more and more out of line. And to go along with that are micro traumas. Like I said just a moment ago, how many people, you get that phone report on Sunday and you see how many minutes were you on your phone, like this, like how many people they bring their text neck way out, or they put their head in a bad position, or even little kids with iPads or in schools now, not even using books, but tablets and laptops. And, just, they call that micro trauma over time. If whether you're work in a hospital and look over a client or a patient, or whether you're a dental hygienist or whatever, like the position that you put your body in over a long enough period of time, even something like, for instance, pro golfers, while pro golfers, it's not a contact sport, but pro golf it has the highest usage of chiropractic in it. It's still, even with that, does have a high disc injury rate for the lower back because your back just frankly can't handle 1,500 golf swings a day for a lot of people. And what they've shown, for example, is that 4 swings with your driver puts the same amount of torque as 90% of your maximum deadlift. And you can imagine if you're max deadlifting all the time, a lot of people, if they don't constantly get adjusted and stay in alignment, tend to develop back injuries. But there's other things. There's thoughts. And when we thoughts, what we really mean is stress. If you have a divorce, a death in the family, a job loss, a high stress job, a kid that drives you into having high stress, whatever it might be, already most of you watching this know that stress weakens your immune system. Stress can affect your mood. It can affect the quality of your sleep. It can affect your healing potential. And as you might expect, then if you do the same jobs, the same tasks, the same thing, and you're high stressed, or you have really negative thoughts or really poor sleep, your body tends to break down a lot faster, which can then lead to subluxation or that misalignment. And then additionally, there are things that you may or may not be able to control, such as toxicity, which is internal stress on the body, whether it's consuming alcohol on a regular basis, food with dyes and food colorings and preservatives, heavy metals, things like that, or things that get put on the skin, like antiperspirant is absolutely full of aluminum, and that aluminum absorbs into your skin and can create toxicity and inflammation. Crappy and cheap sunscreen, medications, all these different things that do put toxicity or chemicals into your body over time can cause more inflammation, which can lead to a variety of other diseases, but also can cause spinal problems and misalignments. So these are the 3 T's: thoughts, traumas, and toxins, including micro traumas, which goes back to why people tend to, I said earlier, if you have one injury and then you continue to do the same things, you could have a problem develop for years, considering that only about 10% of your nerves feel pain. And you probably notice at the end of chapter 6 there, where it talks about as a twig is bent, so the tree grows. And so think about that. Like you've all been in a forest or you've seen somebody, a tree in their yard where it got pushed, it got hit, it got bent over, and so by bending or deforming it, it adapts. If you see somebody with severe scoliosis, you may see how their shoulders are high and their body adapts to that, which can cause hip issues and knee issues and a variety of other things. But it's like, if you can keep your posture proper, if you can keep your spine aligned, the twig is not bent, so the tree grows tall. And this is an argument for why you can and should adjust babies, little kids, young adults, middle-aged adults, old adults, from birth to death. There's so much to be said for being preventative and proactive. Going into nutrition next week. Hope you have a very blessed day.